Two people in the town of Amesbury near Salisbury in England were admitted to hospital after being exposed to a nerve agent. The chemical used is the same as the one used in the poisoning of double agent Sergei Skripal and his daughter a few months ago. The nerve agent is called Novichok. Police in County Wiltshire have declared a major incident and cordoned off specific areas. Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel has backed down from her open-door refugee policy to save her government. Merkel has managed to quell a mutiny led by her Interior Minister Horst Seehofer. Merkel, however, was criticized by her own party. German Chancellor Angela Merkel called for every effort to avoid a trade war with the US. Her remarks came a day after major US trading partners, including the EU, voiced deep concern at the World Trade Organization, or the WTO, about potential additional US tariffs. India has offered to help Thailand in the daunting task of rescuing the trapped children and the coach. India's help would come via a company that would assist with pumping out water from the cave system. The project owner of Malaysia's $20 billion East Coast Railway link has told its main Chinese contractor to suspend work. This raises uncertainty about the future of part of China's Belt and Road Plan. The 688-kilometre East Coast Rail link will connect the South China Sea in the east coast of peninsular Malaysia with strategic shipping routes in the west and is a major part of China's infrastructure push across Asia and beyond. US President Donald Trump observed the US Independence Day holiday by thanking the military for their ongoing efforts to defend freedom. The President and First Lady hosted military families on the White House South Lawn for a picnic and fireworks. President Trump welcomed the servicemen and women and their families and shook hands and took photographs. Fireworks, music and the pursuit of hot dogs marked the 242nd year of independence for the United States as people participated in a hot dog eating competition. Contestants scarfed down as many hot dogs as possible in the event held at New York City's Coney Island. The competition has become a televised event now in the 46th year. 10-time champion Joey Chestnut took home his 11th mustard belt at Nathan's after putting away 64 hot dogs in 10 minutes. The U.S. Commerce Department temporarily lifted part of a sales ban on the major Chinese tech firm ZTE, which almost shut down the company about 3 months ago. After paying a fine of $1 billion, ZTE was allowed to resume transactions with its U.S. suppliers. The authorization following ZTE to restart some activities is valid until August 1st. They include being able to do business with U.S. companies in order to provide service and support for ZTE's smartphones. The U.S. government ended a policy initiated by the former Obama administration on instructing colleges to consider race as an admission criteria. Democrats say Trump's rollback of vital affirmative action offends America's values. Hardliners in the Justice and Education departments are moving against any use of race as a measurement of diversity in education. A woman climbed the base of the Statue of Liberty on the afternoon of July the 4th. The incident forced an evacuation of the New York Harbor Island, where the monument stands. Hours before Independence Day fireworks displays were scheduled to begin nearby. The Park Service, which operates the Statue of Liberty National Park, could not confirm whether the woman was part of a protest. Earlier, even 7 protesters were arrested on the island. Hundreds of demonstrators gathered in the Afghan province of Faryab to demand the release of a prominent militia commander close to General Abdul Rashid Dostum. Dostum is ethnic Uzbek vice president who is in exile in Turkey. At least one person was killed and 9 were wounded during the protests, which underline the tension between powerful regional leaders and President Ashraf Ghani ahead of elections due in October. Egyptian Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry has distanced himself from efforts by the European Union to open migration centres in North Africa as part of a drive to stem the flow of migrants across the Mediterranean. Shoukry said that Cairo preferred a more comprehensive approach. He added that Egypt is working to integrate migrants into its society rather than housing migrants in specific centres. Dozens of Syrians stranded at the Jordanian-Syrian border received treatment at a Jordanian military medical outpost. Jordanian armed forces set up a makeshift medical centre near the Jaber crossing point this week to treat those wounded in the clashes in southern Syria, as well as cases of fevers, diarrhea and infections. A survey has found that Palestinians prefer jailed leader Marwan Barghouti as successor for 82-year-old President Mahmoud Abbas. Barghouti, a Palestinian uprising leader, has been jailed for life by Israel. The poll was conducted by the Ramallah-based Palestinian Center for Policy and Survey Research, which interviewed 2,150 adults in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. Syrian troops continued their advance in the southwest region of the country as reconciliation efforts reached local villages. Syrian rebel negotiators began a new round of talks with Russian officers earlier over a peace deal in southern Syria, under which they would hand over weapons and allow Russian military police to enter rebel-held towns. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called on Europe to take a harsher stance against Iran after an Iranian diplomat was arrested for involvement in plotting a bomb attack in France. The attack, Netanyahu said, was being planned by Iran the same week that the country's president was in Europe, hoping to arrange economic benefits to make up for the damage caused by the new US sanctions over Iran's nuclear program. Mexico's business elite praised President-elect Andrés Manuel López Obrador after he assured them he respected private enterprise. However, this was in contrast to jibes in his campaign that some tycoons belong to quote-unquote mafia of power. The encounter between the powerful business lobby and López Obrador comes as markets took the elections in stride. Hundreds of Poles demonstrated outside the Supreme Court in Warsaw after new legislation came into force that requires about a third of judges at the Supreme Court to retire. The conflict has isolated Poland in Europe, where most governments are critical and the European Union are involved in a long-running dispute with Poland over democratic values. Japan will send a large helicopter carrier to the South China Sea and Indian Ocean. Japan's growing visibility in those waters reflects concerns it shares with the United States over China's military presence in the region. Nearby trade routes are vital to the Japanese and US economies. The 248-meter-long cargo, which can operate several helicopters simultaneously, will make stops in Southeast Asian countries such as Indonesia and at ports in India and Sri Lanka. A second deadly ferry accident within a span of weeks has left 70 people dead and 41 missing near the island of Java in Indonesia. The ferry was carrying about 140 passengers and dozens of vehicles. Images from the scene showed terrified passengers clinging to the side of the tip-over ferry while others floated in the sea awaiting help. Waves swamped the boat's deck, taking trucks and other vehicles into the sea. Allahu Akbar. Wildfire in Northern California forced evacuations as firefighters battled a blaze that threatened hundreds of homes. Police say they have arrested a man on suspicion of first-degree arson. The United States is experiencing an unusually active fire season, with the risk considered well above normal for many western states. Temperatures in the area of the California blaze reached the mid around 29 degrees Celsius. Parisian bus drivers have won a years-long battle and now can wear shorts at work during heat waves. The Paris Public Transport Authority presented the new uniforms, which can transform into Bermudas through a zipper located right above the knee. From early June to September, when temperatures rise above 28 degrees Celsius, drivers will be notified that they can remove the lower part of their pants. A supermarket in Belgium's Brussels has started selling produce grown on its own roof without the use of pesticides or preservatives. Called the Urban Farm, the garden contains rows of vegetables and a greenhouse for the colder months. The rooftop garden is the first of its kind in Belgium's Delhaize stores and is servicing as a test run. Limbadi, the chimpanzee, warmed hearts with his moving reaction upon seeing the human couple who helped raise him. Tanya and George's reunion with the chimp was captured on camera at the Zoological Wildlife Foundation in Miami, Florida. In the video, Limbadi is seen yelling for joy before jumping into the arms of his former caregiver, George. Former British number one Tim Henman is training dogs to become ball boys and girls for a December tournament. The canines try to catch tennis balls as well as sit still as Henman lists the traits they need to succeed at the tryout and become ball dogs. The dogs are being trained for the December 6 to 9 Champions tennis event held each year at London's Royal Albert Hall, where a host of big tennis names play in single and double matches. Officials called off a surfing competition for the day on Wednesday when a shark moved into the surf at Jeffreys Bay in South Africa. World Surf League teams spotted the great white shark, said to be 2.5 to 3 meters long, heading towards the surfers, and postponed the competition when the shark showed no sign of moving on. Heavy rains have battered parts of central and southwestern China since Tuesday, causing flooding and raising water levels. It is expected that torrential rains will subside in Sichuan Basin as well as northwest China's Shaanxi province. Forecast says that the eastern part of Sichuan Basin, northeast of Shaanxi province, north part of Guizhou province will be battered by downpours, and central China's Henan and Hubei provinces. Several districts of Assam experienced heavy rains in the past 24 hours. Rains have inundated the Kokrajhar and Chirang districts of Assam. People have evacuated the area and shifted to safer locations. A large part of the population has been affected due to the heavy rains. With increase in rainfall in the state, the water level of the colossal Brahmaputra river has also significantly risen, touching the danger mark. A fraction of more than 500 Hindu pilgrims stranded in Nepal's mountainous region were rescued by the country's army. The pilgrims were stranded due to torrential rains and landslides. Nepal army deployed military choppers and commercial flights in Simikot area to carry out rescue operations. The pilgrims were returning from Kailash Mansarovar pilgrimage in Tibet, a revered tradition for Hindus. India wants to avoid people-to-people relations to suffer due to the crisis in the Maldives. The Maldives reportedly has an unofficial ban on visas and work permits to Indians. Diplomatic sources told WION they hope international pressure will influence the Maldivian government. The Supreme Court of India has denied a full state status to the Indian region of Delhi, but termed it as a class apart. The country's top court also ordered the Delhi Lieutenant Governor to fully cooperate with the region's government. Parents of school children gathered in India's Pune city to protest dress code implemented by a school. Authorities at Pune's MIT schools have implemented new rules wherein they have asked girls to wear specific colour innerwear with the school uniform and wear skirts of a certain length. The school also has come up with a rule which prevents children from going to the washroom multiple times. India has raised the government-mandated price for summer-sown crops such as rice and cotton by 25%. It is the most since Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to power in 2014. The country announces support prices for more than a dozen crops each year to set a benchmark. But analysts say the median hike this year was 25% compared with 3 to 4% in the last 3 years, which could hit government finances and stoke inflation. Now let's take a look at all the latest from the world of sport. We start with football. Reigning European champions Real Madrid have denied rumours of an agreement with Paris Saint-Germain to sign teenage sensation Kylian Mbappe. The statement from Los Blancos hierarchy emerged after reports that the Spanish capital outfit had agreed a potential £240 million deal to sign the French international. Mbappe, currently in Russia, has set the World Cup alight with a sensational display that helped the 1998 champions edge Argentina in the round of 16. Now, Indian actress Sonali Bendre has revealed that she has been diagnosed with cancer and is currently undergoing treatment in New York. Taking to Twitter, the actor revealed she has been diagnosed with high-grade cancer and is currently undergoing treatment in New York. The actor called the diagnosis a curveball, but said her family and close friends have rallied around her and they remain optimistic in this difficult time. British police probe 6 sexual assault claims against Kevin Spacey. The assault claims against the Academy Award winner date back to 1996 and 2013. It did not identify the American as the suspect, but said on Wednesday that Metropolitan Police detectives are investigating a man over 3 more claims, 2 in London and 1 in Gloucester.